There's a statistic I don't need to look up. Why? Because you already know it. Most women who start a faith-led business will quit before they ever make consistent income. Not because the idea wasn't good or because God hasn't called them, but because they start and then start again and then stop. I want to talk about why this keeps happening in this video. And there's no judgment, but I just want to be honest because I have been that woman. I've started and I've stopped. And I want to be super clear about what I found when I finally got honest about it and everything completely changed. So let's jump into this video. I want to talk about 4 things which are the honest truth. Number 1 is that you don't have this problem. Okay, I've written 4 things on the board. Number 1, you don't have a faith problem. So we can cross that out. You don't have a motivation problem. Let's cross that out. You don't have a calling problem. Let's cross that out. Your issue right now is a structure problem. That is it. You have no specific structure that actually helps you to be able to achieve what it is that God has placed on your heart to do. And I want us to be honest because there are 4 patterns that I'm going to go through next that will reveal in more detail. Maybe you might even identify yourself in some of these areas because these 4 patterns I'm about to name reveal what keeps Christian women, faith-led women, stuck. Number 1 is that you are so used to starting an emotion, and when that emotion feeling fades, you stop. It's like launch energy. You launch into it. There's excitement. There's prayer. There's the idea, the confirmation. You are excited. And that for you is your green light. But where the issue comes is that feeling after a while fades. And this is why I talked about your issue is a structure issue. Because structure is what keeps you going long after that emotions or feeling fades. Number 2. You're trying to build everything at once. Can we please be honest? You've got a journal idea, you've got a course idea, you've got a podcast idea, you've got a clothing brand idea, you've got a coaching offer idea. Like, you want to start them all at the same time. Anyone whose energy is divided will never get anything completed. Completion requires absolute focus. Focus requires choosing one thing and protecting that choice. Let's move on to the 3rd pattern. The 3rd pattern is that you are so used to building in isolation. Isolation is a dangerous thing. Nobody knows what you're working on. No one is expecting anything from you. And when you stop, there's no consequence. And that is the issue. Listen, isolation removes the accountability that would have kept you going long after you've decided, man, I've checked out. Community is nice to have, but in this instance, community is essential because community is part of the infrastructure that keeps you going on and allows you to follow through on what God has said or called you to do. Let's move on to the 4th one. You like to confuse spiritual process with practical inaction. Let's talk about it. I know you pray. You've been praying about it. You've been journaling about it. You've been waiting for clarity from the Holy Spirit, more confirmation, more peace. But while you're waiting, you're doing absolutely nothing. You're not building. You're just praying. That's it. Don't mistake spiritual activity for productive obedience. It's not the same thing. God responds to movement, not just prayer. And here's the honest truth. I need you to understand that you're not lazy. You're not lacking faith. You're not lacking ideas. You are simply operating without a structure that would make finishing feel possible. And that's absolutely fixable. So now I want us to talk about a 5-part structure framework, which I have used to help women like yourself finally finish ideas that God has placed in their heart. So let me grab a pen and let's hop right into it. Okay, number 1, okay, this is part 1 of the 5-part structure framework. Okay, so number 1 is you are going to have one idea. Okay, choose one idea. Number 2, so I'll put these out first and I will explain them in more detail. Okay, I want you to have a clear definition of, made a bit of a mistake and rub that out, of what done looks like. Number 3, you are going to have a daily non-negotiable. Number 4, you are going to have a visible deadline. And number 5, you are going to have an accountable community. Okay, now let's dive into this and talk about this in more detail, because I know that when we explore each of these, it is going to help you immensely. So the first one is, and most women like to skip this, is have one idea. I understand, I speak and I work with a lot of women. I have mentees, I have people that I coach, I've got students, so many things. And the common thing I hear is, I have so many ideas, I don't know which one to do first. Or, man, I don't know which one to pick. Or, I'm trying to do them all and you're hardly moving anywhere. You seem to think that if you choose one idea, that means that you have abandoned all of the others. That's not the case. So what you do is you end up holding all of them simultaneously and you end up building none of them. The truth is, choose one idea. You see, when you commit to choosing an idea, that is an act of faith. That says that I am trusting God that when this one is done, the next one will still be here. I mean, the God that gives you the idea, when he don't give you the resources, the wisdom to be able to execute that idea, of course he will. And I want us to turn quickly. Let's go to Proverbs 4:25, okay? Let's go to Proverbs 4:25. Now I already have it open. And it says the following. It says, let your eyes look straight ahead and your eyelids look right before you. Now I'm reading from an NKJV. So it says, let your eyes look straight ahead. This verse from Proverbs is not about ignoring your calling. Absolutely not. It is saying, learn to have a singular focus for a season of execution. Fix your gaze on one direction, one deliverable. Now, I want you to do something, and this is going to help you. Write down every idea you have. I want you to do it right now. Grab a journal, grab a notebook, write down all the ideas. Once you've done it, close that journal, close that notebook, and go and put it in a shelf, okay? Put it on a shelf somewhere. And then I want you to pick the one idea that is the most fully formed. The one that you feel that God has been saying for the longest, build this one first. Go ahead and build it. Don't worry about the other ideas. They're safe. Trust me, they are safe. They're not gone. They are just waiting. Let's move on to the next step. Number two, a clear definition of what done looks like. Now, I need to be really clear with you because vague doesn't get things done. Vague is the enemy of following through. It's not just, I'm going to launch my business, and that's not a goal. That's a direction. There's no finish line. It's like when an athlete is running or 400 meters or 800 meters or whatever it is, kind of marathon, and they see the finish line. They see a clear goal. It's specific, it's clear, they can't ignore it. Rather than a person that says, yeah, I'm going to do this, but they put no time, no deadline, no date, no deliverable, no outcome, nothing. It's just a wish or a dream. And the problem is that when you cannot envisage, or when you have no clear finish line, it just means that you're not going to cross it. Why? Because you just want to be that person that you're never going to experience the dopamine rush of completion. Because when you complete something, do you know what it says to you? It says, oh, I can actually go ahead and do the next thing now. And then once you do that, you then like, listen, I can go now and do the next thing. So you need to have a specific, concrete, dated definition of what done looks like in your life. So let's talk about a definition of done, or let's give an example. A wrong example is, I want to create a journal to sell online. A right example is, by the 31st of May, I will have completed a 90-day faith journal designed in Canva, uploaded into Amazon KDP, and live for sale for $9.99. You see the difference? The second one had a definition, it had a date, it had a format, it had a clear deliverable and a price. When all four are present, you can see the finish line. Let's move on to three. Number three, a daily non-negotiable. Listen, what does this actually mean? It means that you have a block of time that you do not negotiate with. It is a protected time for your God-given assignment or business that you're working on. It means that this particular non-negotiable time, it doesn't negotiate with your feelings. It doesn't negotiate with what time of day it is. It doesn't negotiate with your circumstances. It doesn't negotiate with other people's needs and their urgencies. This non-negotiable block of time, it is scheduled. It is protected. It is treated with the same seriousness as your doctor's appointment, as your hair appointment. And ladies, we don't play about our hair. We don't play about our nails neither. When we need to go and get these things done, listen, we booked in time. We booked in advance. Let us extend the same commitment we have towards keeping our nail appointments, keeping our hair appointments, keeping our doctor's appointment, keeping our spa appointments, towards building the business that God has placed in your heart. Even the commitment you have towards church, let us extend that towards what God has called you to do in this season of building your God-given idea. All right. Now, I want you to understand as well, you don't need 4 hours. In fact, research has shown that 45 minutes to 60 minutes is the sweet spot where you have enough focus time. If you're focused, and if you do that over a few days, imagine 30 days, everything compounds. And this is something that I take women through in my Call to Create 30-day sprint. The question isn't about, do you have, how much time do you have, or I don't have enough time. You do. The question is are you protecting and are you consistent with that time? All right. So your assignment needs a slot in your calendar, and it needs to say that, look, in this particular time, I am available for nothing else but this thing. Don't fill it in with anything else but working on your God-given idea, okay? It is a protected slot. Every single day, be consistent. This slot is your covenant in action. And let's move on to the next one. So number 4 is a visible deadline. What does that mean? Number 1, private deadlines don't work. A deadline where you have not told anyone is just a suggestion. Why? Because when that moment of resistance comes, or something happens to come through, or a circumstance happens, or a feeling happens, that private deadline bends. We don't want that. I want to encourage you to have a public deadline, because public deadlines hold. And it's not about pressure. It's not about feeling scared, like, oh my goodness, I said this and people are going to think this. It's not about that. This is about accountability to the calling. Like, this is a game changer. And I know we tend to think opposite, like, oh no, I don't want to say things. If I say this, then people are going to think I'm not going to follow through. That's the whole point. We need you to follow through. So if you know that you have publicly said, I am going to do this thing, then yeah, you got to follow through. Okay? As I said before, it's not about pressure. But when you have that accountability, you're more than likely to follow through. So I want to encourage you to get an accountability partner. Tell them. Post it on social media. Post it in your stories. Put it in your email signature. Write it on a whiteboard where you see it every single day. The more visible the deadline, the more real it becomes, and the more your subconscious works towards it, even when you're not actively building. And that moves us on to step 5, an active community. One of the things about an active community is that it is extremely underestimated. You can have all 4 of these: an idea, a clear definition of what done looks like, a daily non-negotiable, a visible deadline. But an accountable community is a game changer. An accountable community means that you're not necessarily building alone. It also means that there are others who can hold you accountable. It also means that when your memory decides to forget, there are some people that are going to call you up and say, hey, you said this. Now, what does an accountable community look like practically? It's not just a Facebook group you just lurk in now and then. It's a space where people know your specific goal. They know your specific deadline, and they will ask you about it. That expectation changes behavior more than almost any other variable. And that's why I personally started Planner to Profit, which is my school community. I built it this way. So I want you to find at least one person who you will speak to, or who you will ask next week to hold you accountable. That person should be able to ask you, hey, did you manage to do that thing on time? You don't want someone who, will allow you to explain your way, away from, or explain yourself out of any kind of accountability. That's not what we want. You want someone who will hold you to account with grace and with love. Very important, okay? So find that person, because that person is worth more than any course you'll ever buy. When you have that person in your corner who could hold you up and say, hey, you said you was going to do this. Did you manage to do it? What happened? Okay, so what are you going to do this week that this doesn't happen again? Come on now. I know you're a go-getter. Let's go. Let's move. Let's do this thing. That's what you need. And I want to talk about a time for myself. There was a time whereby I was really wanted to start a clothing brand, and a Christian clothing brand in essence, actually. And I was researching, going on YouTube. I was really thinking about it. And I just happened to tell my sister was that person for me who was my accountability, because she would always be the one be like, hey, what's going on with this? What's going on with this? No, why did you do this? No, come on, you need to do it. Like, come on, man, fix up. She would be the one that will just be keeping me on my toes. And I can't lie to her. And this is what you need. Somebody who's not afraid to tell you the truth. Someone who's not afraid to say, look, sis, I love you, but you're slacking. I know it sounds harsh, but that's what you need. You need someone who can say, look, I know that you can do better than this. So whatever it is, let's fix it. Let's pray. What time do you need me to call you? Whatever it is, let's get this thing done. Okay? So I have been there, but what I want to encourage you is that have structure. Look at the 5-part framework that we've been through today right here. I said before. So I'm going to encourage you right now to go and do the following. Number 1, write your one idea. The most fully formed one, or the one that God has been saying to you for the longest time. Go and do that one. Number 2, write a clear definition of what done looks like. Write a specific sentence. What, when, and how. What, when, and how. Number 3, block out your daily non-negotiable in your calendar right now. 45 minutes as a minimum, 60 minutes as a maximum. Number 4, choose a visible deadline and tell at least one person about it today. And number 5, identify your accountable community, where you will build with people who expect you to finish and complete that thing. So I want to encourage you, you can do this 5-minute structure test, okay? If you can't complete all of these 5 steps in 5 minutes, your idea isn't clear enough yet. Now, it doesn't mean that this is a failure. No, this is just information. Step 1 and step 2 are often the hardest, but they are the most important. Because if you get these 2 right, these are the foundation, the rest will follow. Okay? So, I want you to know and understand that you're not starting over today. What you are doing is very important. You are building structure. And that means that you will never have to start all over again. So, if you have enjoyed this video, I really just want to encourage you to keep going. Keep building, okay? And if you're looking for something whereby you've got a God-given idea, God has given you this idea, and you're just like, I just need to put my head down, be focused, and achieve this one clear goal and outcome, and you want support, you want accountability, you want mentorship, I want you to click below and I want you to sign up or read more information about our 30-day call to create sprint, okay? That link is in the description, so you can go ahead, click it, check it out, and see if it's for you. And guys, I will see you in the next video.